Everybody, welcome to the February 18th meeting of the Auburn Water District. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes of the last meeting? Yes. Take a motion to...
I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 21, 2026.
Thank you.
I can approve.
You weren't here?
Well, I was here, but I wasn't named as being here.
Oh. We'll make a motion.
But I motioned to close the meeting.
Last week.
Tim,
the last one.
we were just checking to see if you were reading that.
And there it is, right? All right. Accept the motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Yep.
Bob?
I second that. Okay.
No, you're making the motion.
Oh, okay, that's some. I thought he passed it over to him to do.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 21, 2026 as amended.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Mike, can you give us the financial report?
Sure. So revenues are over budget and expenses are slightly under budget for January. On the revenue side, the increase over budget is largely due to public fire protection being billed 3 months in advance versus 1 month of income in the budget column. Miscellaneous operating revenue is also over budget due to a way that we changed how we're accounting for utility expense reimbursements from Lewiston with our new billing software. In January, we included those in their own income account instead of netting them with the expenses. I was giving that some more thought today, and I think moving forward, I'm going to treat it like we have in the past and just net the expense reimbursements with the expenses for utilities. So that should straighten out moving forward. On the expense side, payroll and benefits are under budget, partly because we didn't have our asset management tech hired during the month, but we had them budgeted for the year. We recently made an internal hire of an existing water operator for that position. This variance is also due to how labor costs are allocated between the months in the budget column, and then some labor costs get charged to projects or other expenses that are outside of labor, which causes that budget to be under what we have budgeted there. The Lake Auburn watershed expenses are also slightly under budget due to the netting of expenses with payroll reimbursements for our education and outreach coordinator. There were no debt service payments in January, and cash on hand has increased slightly. Cash on hand of $3.6 million is sufficient to service existing debt and fund operations. And then I also wanted to just include an update on the audit. RHR Smith is our auditor, and they're going to be on site the first week of March. 2025 is closed out, and I've sent them everything on the request list as of today. Mike and I have an introductory meeting with them on Friday to go over what's changed this year and to discuss the planning of the audit. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Mike?
Yeah.
Fourth line down, the end of it.
Yep.
Motive power income from Lewiston. Would you define motive power income?
I'm not an expert on it, but motive water is what the water that's used to transfer chemicals, I believe.
So in the plant, we apply chemicals to the water as part of the treatment to move that chemical from where the chemical pumps are into the water. You need enough water to mix. So we use Auburn city water, so it comes out of our distribution system. It gets injected with the chemicals that are treating the water, and then that gets injected into the treated water. So Lewiston pays for half of that because it's our water out of our distribution system. So it's always been called motive water.
Thank you. Thank you. I just hadn't seen that term.
Yep.
I had no idea.
Thank you, Mike.
what it was either.
It has to run
My
it.
question.
It has to run at like between 62 and 68 gallons per minute. It has to go at that rate to get the mixing. You know, you're treating 6 million gallons per day, or what is that, like 8,000 gallons per minute? You know, you need a good flow.
Yeah.
So
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you, Michael. This is the public comment section of the meeting. Are there any public comments?
Now, very quickly, in the notice of the increase in rates, I think there's a typo in the box. So all of the content says 8%, but in the box it came out 0.08 cents per day. If you multiply that, say 90 by 90, that would be 7.2 cents per quarter, which was not the intended result, I'm sure. And in your public hearing, you might get some Philadelphia lawyers coming in here.
we're going to explain that. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, new business?
Yep. New business. We'll jump right into this. So speaking of which, the water rate increase status. We've been making good progress on this. The public notices went out, so we mailed notices to all customers. We also got this posted in the paper. We have, we'd previously completed our initial filing with Maine PUC, so that is all completed. Tonight is the public hearing. The next steps is to allow a 30-day period for our customers to petition, at which time we can then do the final filing of the rate increase and make the rates effective April 1st. So far, the feedback's been fairly positive. We've gotten a couple of small calls, but really nobody really complaining about the increase. There is most likely going to be a small article in the paper tomorrow.
It's in there now.
It is there now.
It might be in the printed, but it's online.
It's online now.
A couple hours ago
All right.
I saw it.
I haven't even seen that yet, but they've been questioning me the last couple of days, so I knew it was going to be headed there. So that's good to hear. So yeah, everything is going well with that process. That notice is a little confusing if you look at what the typical customer is and what we factored in there. We're going to go over that in the presentation, but the typical customer does not use 8,000 cubic feet per year. Typical customer is more 1,200 cubic feet per year, and that's the difference in what the cents per day is. But anyways, so yeah, that's what I have on the rate increase process.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Can I get it back next
All right, you want to talk about the bond?
Yeah, that's the next big project that we've been really working on. We need a $2.7 million bond to complete our meter conversion project. So we did file an application for a bond with the Maine Bond Bank. We have a legal notice that needs to be posted by the end of next week, alerting the public that we will be intending to vote on approval of this bond at our next March trustee meeting. I kind of skipped one step. We will find out if we get the bond March 11th, but to be prepared for voting, we have to get that posted 14 days in advance. So that'll go out next week. I'm also working with the city manager to get us on the agenda for the March 16th city council meeting, because the water district does need approval for issuance of bonds from city council. So we will get that. Once we have council approval, trustee approval, we will then need PUC approval. And once those steps are done, hopefully we can execute the agreement with the bond bank in April and have the funds available in May. So we'll keep this as a standing agenda item as we work through these bullets, and you should anticipate the opportunity to vote on this at the next meeting to approve the issuance of the bond. So.
Thank you.
Any
Any
questions?
questions? Did you have a question?
No, I just said thank you.
All right, thanks. Subsurface water?
Yeah, I included in your packets a memo that the city manager had prepared for council, and it's basically a status update on the subsurface inspection program that the city's been conducting. Essentially year 1 and year 2 are underway. The conclusion of year 1 and year 2 is not till July of this year. Year 3 notices are getting ready to go out. So far they've done 33 inspections. There have been 4 or so that have come back as failures. So that's yielding some good results and some areas to make some improvements. I do anticipate when we do finally things thaw out and we lose our snow cover, that quite a few of the remaining folks in year 1 and year 2 will pursue inspections and subsequently reimbursements from the commission. Overall, I think the program, was a little rocky for a start, but since it's been going the last several months, it's been going very smoothly. The relationship between the city and the commission and the district has all been working really well, and a really good partnership there. And I think the results, the end product, the actual inspections that we're getting are really good. It's really good data, very, very beneficial to us. So, Going well.
All right, thank you. Questions? No? Okay, old business.
Right, water quality update. Last month I reported a little bit of concerning numbers. In November, we still had open water in the lake, and we had seen some of our samples showed some elevated levels of algae in the lake, which obviously was very, very concerning to us. Those algae numbers have come down. The turbidity, which is the clarity of the lake, has also come down to seasonal average. So things are looking really good. You can see from the second trend that I provided that the elevation of the water in the lake is coming up. It's not coming up quite as strong as I'd like to see. I'm hopeful. I keep hearing talk of some more snowstorms this weekend and next week. All that's precipitation, which is all very good for the lake, especially coming in small bursts. So I'm hopeful that the water level in the lake gets back up to more of a more normal level, but at this time we're still about 1.5 foot down.
Has it increased at all in any significance?
You can see this is where we're at so far this year, 2026. You can see it is coming up, but if you look, average is up here, we're 1.5 foot down from where we'd like to be. I would like to see it come up before the spring melt. That way you don't have like exposed shoreline that's normally covered by water. So you have that nice soft, it'll be exposed if the water level's down. So I'd like to see that, keep snowing please, it'd be good, so.
So without beating the drum forever, but if the water level doesn't come up, I just need to understand this better. If the water level doesn't come up before the spring thaw melt, what's the risk to us as far as erosion and?
Well, that is the risk to us, is that we would see higher phosphorus numbers because of the erosion caused, whether it be from the runoff or because of the shore now lapping a more soft material rather than what was the established rocky shoreline. It also, not having a higher water level means we're not naturally turning water over in the lake, so rather than water coming in and then it's going out over the dam, you're essentially water's coming in and it's not leaving. And so you're not naturally turning over, that natural, if you're having runoff and you're flushing in and you're flushing out, any spring turbulence or any spring algae introduction or not algae, phosphorus is, that nutrients kind of flushes through. But right now we're kind of like a bathtub that's just kind of filling back up. And we hope that it fills up, this time of year when you're getting good water coming out of your watershed as opposed to that flush,
Okay.
But it's just not much we can do about it, just something we have to monitor, so. What I have there?
Okay. And then an agenda item for the March trustee meeting, could it be Chris?
Yeah, I'd like to have Chris come in and maybe just give it'll be a 5-minute thing. He'll give what I normally say about water quality. I'll let Chris deliver that. He can answer some more specific questions. I think it would be good to introduce him around and also hear some of his perspective. So we'll keep it brief, but have him do that.
All right, great, thank you. Give us the update on the facilities.
Yeah, I was just going to show this on the overhead, David. Sorry, you might want to this. At the time that we sent this packet out, I had moments before just received this draft report from Weston and Sampson. If you remember, we hired them last year to complete a space needs assessment as part of a facilities report for us. Try to understand, well, how much space do we need? What do we have? What are our options for the future? I will say I have not forwarded this to all the board members because right off the bat, I've seen some errors that just some title issues and so I want to get that stuff cleaned up and then we will get that sent out to everybody so we can keep discussing it. I did want to just jump into this tonight to kind of look at a couple of things. So this is just, essentially what we found is this is the size facility that we would need based off our operation. So yeah, they came in, they looked at our number of staffing, they looked at our equipment, they looked at the tasks that we do, they looked at the spaces that we need, and they determined that the best fit for the district would be for us to have between 4.5 and 5 acres of usable land to lay out our operations all at one facility. This was, of the layouts that they presented, the one that on a staff level we liked the best because it had the nice enough spacing, had clear traffic flow, had plenty of parking, had plenty of space for future growth, kept things on one floor, you weren't like stacking the building. That's not to say this is necessarily exactly what we would do, and it's not to say this is exactly the location where we would want to go. The task of the consultant was to come in to determine what we need for space and then to present us with layouts for future consideration. They were also asked to determine if our current space was adequate for our needs, which, as we kind of knew, the current space is not adequate. We don't have enough place for vehicle storage. We don't have enough room for personnel. We don't have enough room for parking. We're kind of, the facility's around 50 years old and we're out of capacity. The one thing, just looking at this draft report, that I don't see is I don't see an estimate or a breakdown of what it would take to get our facility to a usable point. And it's an exercise that it wasn't something that was originally tasked with a consultant, but I would like to, consider doing a change order and getting an estimate from them to prepare that. The initial cost breakdown, I know this is kind of hard to see, I can zoom in one more. Essentially to build what I just showed you, you're looking at between $25 and $27 million. It's a pretty big price tag to build a facility of that magnitude. If you looked at that, the only good thing about this is we can split our costs between water and sewer. So right off the bat, water would pay half, sewer would pay half. But still, if you bond that out over 20 years, you're increasing your cost per district to $700,000 a year for 20 years. That's a pretty big. That'd be a 25 to 30% rate increase to fund that. It's a big number. And, we have a lot of other stuff going on. We have infrastructure needs. We have, treatment facility needs looming in the future. Trying to determine what is the best bang for our buck and where should we be spending our money. I think it would be well worth getting a proposal from the consultant to say, okay, look at our existing facility, look at our properties here. What would it cost to stay here? Would it be $5 million to retrofit this building and build more garage space? What would that look like? We would have to recognize the limitations that we do have. Pulling out of here and turning left or going straight is not an easy thing. Turning right and then turning right or left out onto Union Street is not easy in a dump truck with an excavator and a trailer and the heavy equipment that we take in and out of here on a daily basis. So we have to look at those things. There is the possibility of this entire area getting redeveloped and a different use occurring all around us. So we do have to recognize that. But I think it would be well worth getting a proposal to at least figure out these options.
And to talk a little bit about the hill and the ledge that could be blasted and get...
Yeah, I mean, some of the ideas and stuff we talked about at the sewer meeting is, I don't know if many of you have been up Center Street, if you're familiar with Jim's Rent-It. Their facility out back a few years ago, they, much like behind our barn over here, they had a steep hillside. And they did not have any usable space behind their shop. Well, they came in, they blasted the ledge, they cleared it out, and they now have this big laydown area out behind their shop where it's this very usable space. The district does have property here that extends beyond where our buildings currently sit, which kind of goes up onto that hillside. There would be possibilities to maybe expand the site here a little bit to maximize the usability of it, but you've got to keep in mind, you know, the limitations of the site as far as traffic flow and access and all that other stuff. So, I don't know, that's kind of where we're at with it. I don't know, did I miss anything, Mike?
No, I don't think so. All right.
In addition to this, also going to be the cost of the land purchase.
I mean, yeah, you have to factor that in, yeah.
So it's going to be that plus.
Questions?
Yeah, well, a few observations here. I think it's fine to have somebody look at this facility, but I think there's some things that need to be included now. One, they've already told us that based on the needs analysis, this site does not meet that. So we need to know what we're giving up now if we did it, because we can't meet the needs and the needs analysis. We need to think about long-term what's that is also going to be. I think in this analysis, someone pointed out the land. What's also not included in here is the sale price of this property, right? So you have to net that out against this. For the traffic, you can forget about left turn. Way before you ever get to this intersection, very shortly here, is going to be right turn only. There's not going to be any going across, there's not going to be any left turn. As soon as this Court Street study comes in, it's going to say you can only go right turn only here, and it's probably going to cut out all the parking in the front because it's already a traffic impediment. So, and I think Mike's correct. You know, the direction the city's going in, this isn't, around here isn't going to look like what it looks like now down the road. This is all going to be hemmed in, and my point to Mike was, well, how's this going to work when right next to you and across the street is 6, 8, 10-story building, and you're completely hemmed in all around you by that. So I think it's okay to do this. I want to caution the trustees not to look at this $28 million number and say, let's do something cheaper, it doesn't really matter what it is. Because in today's environment, that is a very small number to build a facility, $28 million. It's just, I mean, I look at what other cities are doing for all kinds of facilities, and almost nothing is less than 40, 50, or $100 million.
It's certainly not going to get any cheaper. You know, it's always going to be there.
Right.
It's hard to predict what it's going to look like here 30 years from now.
Well, yeah, and I think when you, I mean, if you take this and bond it out, the impact on the water and sewer district, if you're splitting this, isn't that great, right? So you have to do the analysis. Let's see what they say about this site. Say, what are we giving up? If we kept it here, what would the cost be? And we really shouldn't be looking at the total cost. We should be looking at what the net difference is every year in the bond payment, right? Because if you might, let's say they come in here and say, oh, this is $28 million, we'll just make up a number. All in, $30 million is the net to move, and you can stay here for $20 million. And it sounds like $10 million is great, but you take that $10 million, look at a municipal bond, amortize that out over 20 years, split it between water and sewer, and it's not a huge difference. And it was only going to happen once, so we want to make sure that we're not cutting our nose off to spite our face and trying to save a little bit of money and then just not getting what we have to have to get the job done in the long term.
I know you kind of touched on it before, there's not really enough land that the board owns, or probably Lawpack owns it, up where the water facility is now.
Yeah, the land around the water treatment plant is owned by the commission, so it's not water district land.
Right.
So that kind of represents a hurdle to.
Right, well, then it might be somewhat conflict too.
Well, and if it's in the watershed,
right,
you can't build it anyway.
Right. Because in some ways it'd be nice to have, if you're going to be filtering probably a future filtration plant, have stuff almost based, you know, in some ways, I would think,
In the perfect world, having everybody under one roof, which would, the filtration plant's here,
Yeah.
operation staff's here, that would be the most ideal thing, but it's very hard with, water and sewer, they have to be at the source or at the discharge
Right,
point.
Yeah.
I just want to point out one consideration similar to what you're saying is that right now we're located, our operations facility is located right in the middle of our distribution system. There's a lot of logistical advantages to that. So if we moved out to the lake, there'd be some advantages to being closer to our treatment facility for sure. But we do have some, there is some thought of if we are moving out to some outskirt property, that does affect our, just response time and efficiency of moving through our system.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to consider besides, as you're pointing out, besides just the price.
That, the site that was shown, where's that located?
That is out by Cascades Drive, which is on Lewiston Junction Road, just past Cascades. It's an industrial parkway that went out.
Right on the border with Poland.
So that was a lot on Cascades Drive, so there is no building there, that's not,
It's an vacant lot, yeah.
okay.
We actually have our back against the wall because there aren't a lot of properties of that size that are centrally located within the hub of the city.
Yeah,
You don't get that luxury.
Yeah, it's very, very limited what's available. You almost are pushed out to the outskirts at this point.
Agron Appliance had a facility over there on their warehouse, and I think they moved over by exit 75. Just an observation, perhaps that's already something that's already built, could possibly be retrofitted to meet our needs. Pretty good sized building. They may still use it as a warehouse, but I don't know.
What's this?
It's right up there, and it's right next to
Rodman
this.
Road.
Yeah, where is it?
Rodman Road, right next to Avcon.
Yeah, on,
Yep. That's where it is.
what, Agron?
They still use it, and that site's way too small. for
Is it?
this.
Okay.
I think what you might be talking about, Mike, is out by this.
Cascades,
Yeah,
Cascades
Yes,
itself.
that's where we go pick up our
Cascades
appliance.
itself is out there,
Right.
but you'd have to look at that very closely, because sometimes retrofitting these places costs more than just building something.
Sure.
It's hard for me to start envisioning specific lots when I still haven't, really, until we get this report finalized, it'll then be clearer to say, okay, well, what are our next steps? People were asking me today, when are we moving? Calm down a little bit. We're not going anywhere for a while. It just, we get through this, we wrap this report up, and, we conclude, okay, you can't stay here, or these are the options to stay here. It'll be a lot clearer to then try to start narrowing down our search, maybe even work with somebody to start evaluating some of these, what is available. But yeah.
You don't need
Jumping ahead.
a motion to spend that 10 grand for that.
Well, I'm not asking to, no, not at this time.
10 grand for what?
I'm gonna get a proposal from the consultant, and then I will bring that back to the board.
That's, I think,
Yeah.
like a ballpark figure?
Yeah.
That was my ballpark, but I wanna get a proposal.
Right.
So,
And the board's all right with moving forward in that direction? All right.
I think it's due diligence to exercise that.
Okay. The infrastructure planning study?
Not a lot to report there for progress. The project was delayed a bit by some additional requests for data, which is important to the product of the report. We do anticipate having a draft final report on February 27th, and we've scheduled a meeting with the consultant in March to go over that. So again, I'm hopeful I'll have that before our next meeting to share with the board. So that's the update there.
Any questions? Are they, I had one about, they're looking at different plant types
Yes.
and configurations.
Yep.
This might be a silly question, but what about a well?
That
Is
is
that a
not part of what
consideration?
they're looking at. We have done studies into groundwater in the past that have kind of died as we've kind of gone through them. There's some logistical things there, but that's not part of this current study.
Right.
No.
One of them was heavy on iron, right?
The one that was found in the previous search had high iron and manganese, and it didn't have enough yield for Auburn alone.
And some of them where they would drill, even though there wasn't enough water, you could get some water. It wasn't clear what the impact was going to be because of the landfills.
Well, exactly. You would likely change the flow of groundwater, which could then, equally.
Could drill it, and then a year later find out it's contaminated.
Right.
Okay, silly question.
No, it's a good
No, it's a
question.
good question, but there was a bunch of work done on this
Yeah.
here a few years ago.
All right. So, Lakeshore Drive and PI?
Yep, that one is going along really well. That project will be out to bid in March. I expect to see more on that. We've passed the 90% design drawings on that. It's all going really well. So that will be under construction this summer. So it's going well.
Okay.
Any feedback on the letters that you sent out?
I did not get any calls. We did send out 2 letters, one to Tabor's and one of the other, I believe it was the VLMP, the other business that's out there. So neither entity has reached back out to me after receiving it. I think there's a lot we really need the proposal from the contractor. That'll really iron out the nuts and bolts of, well, when's it getting closed, that's when we'll probably have more engagement. So far it's been quiet.
Okay. Any other questions? Terms and conditions update.
Yeah, so just good news there. Our new terms and conditions are in effect. They're on our website. We're actually doing some training internally with our office staff tomorrow. But no, that was a pretty good process. I'm happy with the end product. It's been a long time since we'd updated our terms and conditions. Our fees are now up to date, and it'll be very simple to just update those fees as costs increase. So I'm happy to report that's kind of behind us.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Mike, you want to run through the activity report, please?
Sure. This is water main break season in Maine, so we have been dealing with a lot of main breaks. I listed a few that happened in January in Woodbury, North River Road, High Street, Bynum Avenue. That was an all-night repair and required closing down a couple of lanes. We've also had several frozen services, and in a couple of cases, the services were frozen all the way to our main, so we had to dig those up, thaw them out. Last week, there was a private service, but it's an 8-inch private main, so a very large one into Maine Oxy that froze. So that required us helping coordinate that, but they brought in a company brought in Vortex actually to thaw it out from their end, which that feeds their sprinkler system, so it's a pretty high volume. But, so yeah, it's been a little bit colder than usual. I guess the frost is down in some places 5 or 6 feet we're finding, so that wreaks havoc.
On the private property with the private mains, do they get billed for the work we do there?
If we have to actually do the work to thaw their main out, yes, but typically that's something they hire done. We might coordinate with opening, shutting valves to help facilitate the work because they can't have water. In this case, they couldn't have water flowing in while they were trying to thaw it because it could create a dangerous.
I mean, if they had to dig it up or whatever.
Yeah.
If we had to do that, and they said do that, they get billed for our
We
services.
would bill that,
Otherwise, they
yes.
get a private contractor.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
We did find in that case, we had a blow-off valve right before the gate valve that goes into their facility, and our blow-off valve was frozen, so we thawed that out, but that's that's on the public side, not the private side, so they weren't billed for that. I've listed here that the crews are busy clearing snow, sanding, and checking clearing hydrants. Recently, we haven't had a lot of snow, but we certainly had, a nice storm or two in January. We're reviewing for the upcoming construction season, we're reviewing our database of main repairs, and actually summarized some of that today. Since 1990, we've had about 648 main breaks. The average is about 18 a year. So we're looking at ranking, which streets have the most, which streets aren't under a paving moratorium and things like that to start prioritizing. We've got a few, we're creating a short list of projects we can tackle this construction season. And then as I've noted here, we're helping to coordinate some of the projects that the town's doing, Great Falls Plaza and Turner Street, Minot and Court. That's a continuation of the project last year through DOT and Northeast Paving. We'll be helping with raising and lowering gates and manhole covers. And then Mike mentioned the Lakeshore Drive culvert replacement. I had mentioned last meeting that we're working on some little tweaks to our flow control system. We noticed that there was sometimes occurring in the middle of the night at the lowest time of usage when the Goff Hill Reservoir became full, the altitude valve would close and water gets diverted to the rest of the system, but that would create somewhat of a shock wave through the system. And we made some adjustments to basically reduce the flow from the lake just as that reservoir starts to fill. And over the last couple of weeks, we've noticed that wave is almost not occurring anymore. So we're hoping that will lead to a few less breaks. Other than that, we have some continuing training this winter. We have a fall protection training session here next Wednesday, scheduling CPR certification, and then also some work zone safety and dig safe training coming up in March and April. And Mike mentioned we've internally hired a asset management technician from the water crew, so we have an open position on the water crew. We are interviewing. We have 6 interviews scheduled for next week. We also have a vacancy on the sewer crew, so those candidates are being evaluated for both one or the other position, both positions. So we're hoping. I feel like we have some really good candidates coming in next week, so I'm optimistic.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any questions from the trustees? I had one, which was, is there an effort to reach out to DOT to deal with Northeast Paving? Because those guys were a nightmare for you last year, and I don't know if there's some behavior modification that DOT is planning on.
No, it's an excellent question. We spearheaded a meeting with DOT and the city, and where it was basically like an airing of grievances. Just talking about all the problems that occurred last year during the Center Street paving project. And I think the message was received by DOT, and they have offered us some assurances, and we have committed to, setting up a project kickoff meeting and establishing some protocols to try to ensure that this doesn't happen again. So I was told to keep my list close, so when this project kickoff meeting happens, we can bring this stuff back up with the contractor present and make sure they follow it. So, part of the issue was the contractor, the other part of the issue was DOT not holding them accountable. That was probably the bigger part of the problem. So, it was a good meeting.
So a couple other things on that. So it's not Northeast Paving themselves, because this whole job on Center Street involved 2 crews. So the first crew was here and there were no complaints. And then, they ran into their pavement mixing problem, so they sent that crew elsewhere. The second crew that came in was a disaster. And the cities had direct discussions with the commissioner of DOT about Northeast Paving and our dissatisfaction with what went on as well. So
Good, thanks. Okay. At this point in time, if I'd take a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Unanimous?
We're out of executive session.
We got to adjourn the regular meeting.
Yes, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Perfect.
It's good.
I
Enjoy it here.
All right, let's, it's 5 PM. Let's call the public hearing together for the proposed rate increase for the Auburn Water District. Welcome to the members of the public who took the time to show up.
Thank you for the invite.
Thanks for coming. We have a presentation on the rate increase and what's going into it, and then we'll have an opportunity for public comment. There is no action.
There's no action.
There's no action to be taken by the board, but we'll have the public comment in the public hearing and hear from you folks, and then we'll have our discussion and move to adjournment. So if you want to go through the presentation, Mike.
I'll do that. And if I could just ask if those of you who are here from the public, if you could just sign in if you haven't already done so. Thank you. So yeah, we are here to talk about a rate adjustment of the Auburn Water District. Just to do some quick introductions, the meeting was opened up by Trustee President Dennis Bergeron. We also have Robert Kavanaugh here, our treasurer, Bruce Rio, Tim Simpson, Eric Gould, and David Lyon, and Jeff Harmon. All trustees are here and accounted for. My name is Michael Broadbent. I'm the superintendent. Michael Abbott is our district engineer, and Michael Bailey is our finance director. Tiffany Spence is our customer service clerk. She's keeping minutes and notes on the meeting. So yeah, 8% rate adjustment. This is needed to sustain our operations and maintain our infrastructure. We're proposing this 8% increase. Why is the adjustment needed? One of the biggest reasons is over the last 5 years, the cumulative inflation has been around 25%. We've seen a steady rise in our costs, particularly our construction costs have gone up substantially over the last 5 years. Nearly every expense of the district has increased since 2020. The district is working to model our rate increases to match inflation on an annual basis. So I think you'll find, as opposed to our past practice of rate increases every 5 to 6 years, we'll probably do them in a more steady clip at a smaller rate. So maybe 1 to 2% increases, sometimes maybe on an annual basis. But try to keep up with inflation rather than the past practice. Asset management, this is something we're bringing to the district. So we're going to be setting up, implementing softwares, dedicating staff. We have one full-time employee dedicated to this year to build out our asset management software. This is going to help us better manage all of our assets. We'll kind of explain more what that entails here in a minute. And then the largest capital project that we're funding with this increase is our water meter replacement program. So the district is going to be replacing all of its water meters starting in 2026, wrapping that work up in 2027. Our meters now are past their useful life. They're no longer accurate at the low flows. We've been monitoring that and testing them as we remove them. And we're seeing, a lot of loss of water, a lot of loss of revenue because the meters are older and no longer accurate. Kind of some of the nice side benefits that we get to replacing the meters, there's going to be a lot of technology that comes along with it. Leak detection, temperature detection, tamper detection, customer portals. Customers will be able to set up access so they can monitor their water usage. They can receive alerts if they have a leak inside their building, if the temperature inside their building gets down to a certain point, they can set up so they can get an alert to kind of monitor what's going on. As things currently sit, if a customer has a high quarter, we can't let them know that they have a high usage till the end of the quarter when we go and read the meter. Moving forward, we'll get alerted the day their water usage goes up. if it's an increase that's an alarming amount that they should know about, we'll alert them. So that's going to be really nice. Kind of going back to assets. What are assets? Assets are really broken into two categories in our industry. There's vertical assets and horizontal assets. Vertical assets include buildings, pump stations, storage tanks, essentially every piece of equipment owned by the district. Horizontal assets encompass our pipes, our buried infrastructure, mains, valves, hydrants, fittings, etc. So there's a lot of stuff out there. We have 135 miles of water mains. We have, around 30 facilities between our pump station, booster stations, offices, treatment plants, and you name it. We have a lot of stuff out there. So entering all of that stuff into the software to track each pump, track each motor, each drive, determine when the useful life is up so we can help budget and better plan, for our rate increases. So that's a big part of what we're doing. Using software is essential for this. Software that's kind of built for the water and sewer industry is preferable. Software that is going to have APIs and direct connections with our utility billing software, our inventories, and all work in real time is what we're working towards. Help us schedule our maintenance and preventative tasks. It'll be a real time saver and help us organize our operations. System-wide water meters, again, just some stats on that. Over 65% of our meters are between 10 and 15 years old. 15% of the remaining meters are 15 to 20 years old, and 5% of those are over 20 years old. The previous meter technology only guaranteed accuracy out to the first 5 years. The new water meters are guaranteed accurate for 20 years. So it's a big performance increase. Metering technology advances, I kind of jumped ahead and I kind of explained this already, but AMI, advanced metering technology, meter infrastructure is really that ability for the meter to communicate with us in real time. That's not something we have now. That is going to be a huge benefit to not only us, but the customer. So we're excited to have it. That's why I jumped the gun. But here's our timeline. Here we are. We're February 18th, right in the middle of this timeline. We did complete our initial filing with PUC back on January 16th. We got all of our customer notices and we got an ad in the paper back before February 4th. We are having our public hearing today. We are going to allow a 30-day period for customers to petition our rate increase. And, we will make our final filing with the Maine PUC on the 28th of February with an effective date of April 1st, if everything goes accordingly. Quick breakdown of the adjustment. Again, moving rates up 8%. We're going to be bringing in about $393,000 in additional revenue. As you see the breakdowns here, 8% across the board is about $140,000 more from residential, $46,000 more for commercial. Industrial goes up $92,000. Governmental, fire protection as the remaining portions of it. What does this mean to our typical customer? So if you look at this currently, this is where our rates are now. The middle column is the 8% increase. You can see the net increase on your minimum charge is about $3.86 a quarter. Your usage charge is going to go up about $1.92. So your quarterly bill will see an increase of $5.81. Annually, that puts your water bill increase at $23.24. This is assuming that you use 8,000 cubic feet per year, or about 2,000 cubic feet per quarter, and then that equates down to essentially 6 cents per day. I do know on the customer notice there was some confusing things because on that notice included language based off of 1,200 cubic feet per year. I will tell you, if you look at the rate sheets or the tariff sheets that's attached to the packets for this, if you run the math out, it does work. Yes, it is more money when you use more water. It would be more cents per day because you're using and you're paying for more water. But that is something that has been brought to our attention, so we like to explain that. Where do we sit on state comparison? So if you look at this kind of graph chart, these are all the water systems in the state of Maine that have more than 1,200 customers. So the top arrow that's pointing down That's where the Auburn Water District sits right now. Our last rate increase was implemented in 2020. Right beside it, with the arrow that's pointing up, is the Auburn Water District effective 2026. So we'll actually not jump over any other community or district. We're just moving up slightly from where we are now. And as you can see, this really puts us, we're still in the bottom 10% of water districts in the state, particularly for the larger districts. We do have some of the lowest rates in the state. So we have done a good job of keeping the rates down, but I am afraid that it does leave us a lot of room where we have a lot of work that we need to get done. And I think this is taking a step in that direction. Customers do have the right to petition by request. The district will provide a petition form. We do need to make sure that those signing the petition are customers of the district. They do need to include their address on the petition form. If they pull together 15% or 1,000 signatures, we will certify those here at the district, and we will submit that petition form to the Public Utilities Commission through Title 35A, Part 1, Chapter 3, Section 310. They will go down through, review the petition, they will review our rate case, and they will either recommend holding this until the investigation, or proceed, or advise us not to raise the rates, but they will follow that protocol and determine the best steps forward. But that is a process that the customers do have a right to. Kind of in summary, I've kind of alluded to it, but we have done a great job of keeping our rates down, but we recognize that this adjustment has an impact on our customers. Because of this, the district has always striven to keep operating costs as low as possible, and currently we have some of the lowest rates in the state. However, to ensure high quality of service into the future, we will need to invest more aggressively to repair, upgrade, and improve our infrastructure and facilities. This rate increase is an important step in that process, and I do think that this is something we're going to have to keep our finger on the pulse, so to speak, and make sure that we're keeping our rates where they need to be, so that we're maintaining our system. I think our system's in good shape, our facilities are in great shape, but we need to keep them that way, and we need to keep investing. So yeah, that's kind of a rundown on the presentation. As anyone can always reach out to me anytime. Here's my contact information. I'd be happy to answer any questions that folks have. We can kind of turn this to public comment.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike. And
Yeah.
before I turn to public comment, I wanted to know if there were any members of the board that had any questions. None? Okay. Folks, if you have comments, please introduce yourselves and
Wanna go?
let us know what you think.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I'm Suzanne Warner. I guess the reason I came here, I bought my house 5 years ago. I was on Hotel Road. I live alone. I have it's a ranch, a 2-bedroom ranch. And I guess when I had my house inspected, I remember that the inspector said that the water bill was high, and I guess I've always had that in the back of my mind, wondering if it is high, because it's just me that I live in my house, and I say maybe takes 1 shower a day, laundry once a week and stuff like that. So when I saw this, I just I just wondering if is my water bill high per quarter, and how much more will this go? Because my water bill is around between 120 and 130 a quarter, and I just don't know where that falls in with people in my one-person household.
That's water and sewer, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sorry. So I'm just
All
wondering.
right, yeah.
So that's kind of why I was wow, I'm just curious, and I've never asked about it, so.
I'd be happy to take a look at your usage. I don't have that in front of me right now, but I've got your name, and if we have your contact information on that sheet, I will have somebody from our office kind of reach back out to you tomorrow and let you know where is your usage at.
I've just always been curious.
Are you above the minimum? Are you?
Yeah. Because I know that last year I did some work on my deck and I was using the water a lot, but then when I got the next bill, it never changed. So that I was okay. So I don't know, but I've never looked into it. So, and I know that has nothing to do with this, but I just kind of
Mike, what is the minimum billing?
It's 1,200 cubic feet per quarter. You don't pay any overage for until you hit that threshold each quarter. So it's likely you're being so conservative that you're not going over that minimum, so you're not getting any overage charges.
Okay.
So that's probably the minimum.
Yeah.
So dollars and cents wise, what would that be?
It's like $54 a quarter for the water.
For the water?
Yeah, and the sewer is around 69-ish. So that
Okay.
puts you right about that
Probably
number you
okay.
mentioned.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But we'll look into that. We'll
Yeah,
give you a
no,
call.
yeah. So I'm sorry, that doesn't
Oh,
really have
that's
anything to do with this,
fine.
but I, you
Oh,
know.
that's a great question.
Thanks for coming out. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm Christine Popovich. I'm a single homeowner for the past 15 years. Just retired 2 weeks ago from almost 50 years of being a nurse. Occupational nurse, 5 years at Tyson. So that's why I have never been to a meeting, because I've been working. So, couple of questions. All right, let's start with the notice. Please explain to me the increase in debt service. What are we talking about? Is this a bonds, bill, bonds?
We have to, we're
Yes.
applying for a bond for $2.7 million.
You're applying for one.
Right.
Okay,
Spring
so-
issuance.
So this will be from now, not past.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Okay,
We're
so,
budgeting at the debt service, and that bond's gonna be about $180K a year.
okay. All right.
So you might explain to her that we have various projects as we go along all the time, and
Yes.
equipment that gets bonded. There's debt service, and every year some debt gets retired, and there's new debt. So there's always debt service that the district is paying. But to Mike's point, in particular, what is this, 2.7 million, right? But to replace the meters, within the normal debt service that we can fit within the budget, we can't do the meter replacement within that level of debt service. So part of the rate increase is to be able to do the meter replacement.
Okay. And depreciation, what does that apply to?
Yeah, when the meters are in service, we'll depreciate them over, I think, 20 years over the useful life of the meter, so,
Okay.
yeah.
So it would be like a car, it
Right,
depreciates.
exactly,
Okay, I
exactly.
understand.
Yep.
Okay. So, capital improvements, we discussed one of 5, 10, 2.
So
The meters are one, yes?
the meters are one. We do normal main replacement. Every year we replace around about a mile of water main.
Okay.
So that's just, again, the increased cost over the last 5 years have driven up those construction costs. For
Yeah.
us to be able to continue to fund replacements of water mains, we need to raise the rates.
Right.
So we need to boost our capital funds to be able to hit that goal of replacing pipe this year.
Okay, I
So
understand.
it's not necessarily a new project that we're taking on this year, a
Yeah.
new capital project. It's to maintain the work that we have been doing.
Right.
We need more money.
Okay.
Mike, could you share how old some of our piping is?
Well, I think in the presentation there was a photo from Spring Street that we took last summer that was 1895. Some of the cast iron, the oldest I've seen is in the 1880s. So that, that's pipe that's, well over 120 years old, that's still in service out in the system. And when you start talking about that, we really should be replacing about 1% of our system a year. That's about 1.3 miles of pipe a year we should be replacing. If we do that, that means that no pipe would be in the system more than 100 years. So really that's the goal of the district, is to meet that 1% and to ensure that we're not over exceeding the useful lives of pipe.
Okay, cast iron, I know for a fact I have cast iron inside the house.
Yep.
How does that affect what you do? Or
So our mains are what's within the streets. The cast iron in your home, you could have a galvanized water service, you could have cast iron sewer pipes in your home. It's quite common for the sewer service that leaves the home to be cast iron, at least through the foundation.
Okay.
But the pipe that we replace is within the streets, and then we do the services to the property line. So that's what the district owns and maintains.
Okay, so as long as I'm not having any issues,
Right.
leave it alone.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. These new water meters, how would they be affected, like with power outages that we have, like during storms in the summer?
Like
These are gonna be
connection.
computerized?
So the
Yeah?
meters themselves, they don't plug in, they have batteries,
Oh,
and they're guaranteed to last 20 years.
oh,
So if the battery faults, that's on the manufacturer, we get that replaced under warranty. The reading equipment and the infrastructure that reads the meters, those are on our facilities which have generator battery backups. So we will continue to do business if the power goes out. If there's momentary lapses, we're covered for that, so.
all right. Yeah, I guess I'll be interested to see how this all works out. So we'll have access to our accounts?
Yep.
Internet. So if the internet works, hopefully we're good to go in there, any other portal, I guess. Username, password, and you'll be able to see, I'll be able to see the water and sewer
Yep. So
usage.
essentially you would download an app on your phone, or you would download the software onto a home laptop.
Okay.
You would enter your account information from your bill,
Mhm.
and you could set it up. Do you want to receive alerts? Do you want to just get in there and look at what your water and sewer usage is? You'll be able to see what your bills are. You'll be able to see all of that, and you can set it up to receive all of these alerts. I can't remember all of them exactly, but the new meters will give up to 27 different alerts. So they alert on the room temperature, so the temperature in the room. They'll alert on the temperature of the water in the pipe. They'll alert on the vibration of the noise. So that actually helps us detect if there's a water main leak or if there's a leak in the service. And then they'll also do a bunch of alerts on the usage, so how much water is going through them. So you could receive alerts on all or none, or you can set that all up in that portal.
So this would help you guys diagnose if there's an issue probably before you send somebody out.
Oh,
It wouldn't make sense to me to go, I don't know. I mean, it's alerting.
So we put out a bid for water meters last year,
Mhm.
and we selected this platform called Camstrup. That's the new manufacturer of the meters. And so we, as part of our bid last year, we installed around 500 of these meters already. And so every morning our meter crew, which their office is right through that wall, they come in and they have an email alert with all of these alerts coming from the meter.
Okay.
And they can look at all of those and say, oh, this one, the temperature is 22 degrees. So we immediately, the office is notified, they reach out to the customer, alert the customer, hey, or vice versa, if there's a high usage, we immediately get an alert, we notify the customer, hey, we just detected a high usage in your home, let us know if you need any help, we're just letting you know you have high usage.
And that works both ways. This
works
lady
both ways.
has concerns. If she sees an alert, she can call you
Absolutely.
because it's possible you guys are like out straight and you can't get to it.
Right.
So she could go, hey, there's
Hey, I got
something
an
going
alert,
on here.
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right, so safety, that's good.
The other part, ma'am,
Yes.
before, if you had a leak,
Mhm.
you wouldn't know until you got your quarterly bill, and neither would we.
Right.
So if
Wow.
you leaked in the first month,
Mm-hmm.
and it was leaking, and and the leaks in your house somewhere, you're gonna have a huge bill.
Yeah.
There's nothing we could have done about it,
Right.
because we didn't.
Because you don't have the data.
So with the new meters.
So you're tracking.
With the new
You're going to be
meters-
tracking
With the new
data,
meters.
and you can follow it.
You're gonna know, we're gonna know.
Yeah,
And,
okay.
and it's gonna save.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean,
yep.
as soon as possible, that would really be great. Okay, one more thing. David opened the discussion just mentioning what I'd like to know is what kinds of things are you dealing with that are having future implications other than this new meter business? Did you have something specifically in mind?
I don't recall the comment, I'm sorry.
No, you guys were just kind of talking and you said,
Oh,
yeah, given the things that we're dealing with
Oh.
and the implications, for future implications to the community.
Oh, okay.
So,
I wasn't
I'm,
really-
I'm new at this, so.
okay. So I'm the newest trustee,
Ah,
and so I've been on a learning curve.
I get it.
And so I was just expressing the importance of this position, delivering safe drinking water to our community. And our community is positioned to grow. We have housing projects coming up this year. Our population is going to grow. The demand on the system is going to grow. So it's important. It's an important position. That's what I was referring to.
Okay. So our sole water supply is Auburn Lake, yes?
Correct.
Okay. Any other possibilities to increase that, or is that not even within the realm of possibility? I'm just asking.
So the
I grew up in Wyndham, so
Yeah.
Sebago Lake is, the
much
ocean.
larger than Lake Auburn. But they're actually, we're well below the safe yield of Lake Auburn.
Ah,
So
okay.
there's a lot of room for this community to grow and for that lake to continue to serve as our source of supply. I don't believe that's even it's not one of our top concerns or issues, but there's quite a bit of safe yield there. And our current treatment plant is designed to treat like 12 MGD, 12 million gallons a day, and right now we average about 6 million gallons a day. That's for both Lewiston and Auburn. So we're at about half of our design capacity. The lake itself has a safe yield of 16 million gallons per day. So if we needed to upgrade our facility to pump more water, we could certainly do that. But that's where we're currently at.
So being an avid swimmer, and we have no public beach, really, I'm having to go to Sebago, and I'm retired now, so I have to watch the expenditures. I know that there was something out there floating, because I saw the signs, about possibly creating a small beach, but that's probably a really hot topic.
There is Lake Grove Park, which is on the outlet side of
Yes.
Route 4.
Yeah.
And there is swimming there. And the water that's in Lake Grove Park comes out of Lake Auburn.
Okay.
It's called the Auburn Outlet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But you cannot swim in Lake Auburn.
No,
and there is,
I understand that.
with our current treatment facilities and the way we currently manage the water, there really is no potential for that in the future, given the limited size of our water body. And I always like to tell people the closed portion of Sebago Lake, so the area of Sebago Lake that you can't swim in or even go on, is twice the size of Lake Auburn itself. So
I
there's
didn't know
actually,
that, really?
but Sebago Lake is so big
Yes.
that people don't realize that, I can't even go over there. No, you can't.
Well, it's the Sebago side, where the
Right,
where
it's the
the
station
water
side.
district.
Yeah, there's no bodily contact
Yeah,
with
no.
that whole station area. And then there's a whole section of that that's actually no boating, no trespass, in addition to and that area is twice the size of Lake Auburn. So it's a much bigger supply.
Then we need to work on a public pool.
Well, there's
To get people healthy.
I'd love to supply the water.
And I'd love to have you supply the water. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I just think of another question. So how do you tell the quality of the water now, and will the smart meters have anything to do with that, or is that something you just test at certain times or whatever?
Yeah, the meters themselves won't measure water quality other than temperature. The quality of the water, we monitor that at several different locations throughout our distribution system, in addition to where it leaves the treatment plant. We actually have 16 designated sample sites throughout the distribution system that are strategically placed there and approved by the state to ensure that the water quality in our system is good. So we monitor that all the time. We have samplers that go out every day and collect these samples.
So as homeowners, I assume it's our responsibility, since we own the pipes in our home, to monitor from inside our house, or how is there recommendations about that, or?
I've never had any recommendations to have people to do additional monitoring, but if anybody is ever concerned about their water quality, we can go out and do a check and do some testing and make sure, and maybe find, if there is an issue, find out what's going on.
Okay.
But
All set?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Thank you for coming. I think I can close the public comment and the public hearing, and I would accept a motion to adjourn the public meeting.
Make a motion, we adjourn the public meeting.
Second.
All in favor? All right, thank you, everybody.